Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Wednesday, December the 29th. We do have a relatively big slate today. We do have a 9-gamer. So as always, guys, we're going to go game by game. We're going to talk through each game on this 9-game slate, break down each team, give my early thoughts, what I do like, at first looking at the slate on Tuesday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core, 5 players I specifically like on DraftKings and on Yahoo at first look. Now, as always, again, these are my first looks of the slate. With NBA right now, with COVID protocols going wild, with players getting ruled out basically every single day, you have to pay attention to injury news. You have to pay attention to updated reports. You got to make sure that the guys that you're rostering are actually playing. Pay attention to starting lineups. The slate can completely change. A guy can get ruled out and it can completely change everything. And with how protocols are going wild right now, players are getting ruled out basically every day. Star players too. So you got to pay attention to news. I do provide a lot more updated content on Patreon. So if you really enjoy these first look videos, you want more of my updated content after we get injury news, after players are ruled out, and after I can make changes. I do provide that all over on Patreon. Link down below in the description. Also, I do give out some of my favorite picks each day on Prize Picks for Patreon members. So if you want to become a Patreon member, you'll get my Prize Picks plays. For those of you that are new here and you have not signed up for Prize Picks yet, go check them out. They are the sponsor of this video. Sign up for Prize Picks, use code NOAH, and when you do sign up, they will match your first deposit. Prize Picks will give you a free bet up to $100 when you sign up with my code, and you can take a look at their site, see what they have to offer. They're more of a player prop based DFS site, so you're picking over or under on players' projections. They don't have any NBA projections posted yet for Wednesday, but they'll get those posted early Wednesday morning, and you can take a look at their NBA board, make some NBA picks if you want to do other sports. Obviously, they have other sports as well. They have NFL, college football, college basketball, soccer, women's college basketball. They got every sport imaginable on Prize Picks. You can mix and match sports as well. So you can do a couple picks from NFL, a couple picks from NBA, and then put them together in one entry. You can win up to 10 extra money on Prize Picks. So check them out, guys. Sign up and use code NOAH when you do, so that you do get that deposit bonus, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. But let's go ahead and take a look at Wednesday's 9-game slate. We're going to start off with the Knicks and Pistons game. So the Knicks today, they are on a back-to-back, so keep an eye on the injury report. But right now, the Knicks are kind of getting fully healthy. Like, they've got most of their guys back. Derrick Rose is still out, for injury. He's going to be out for a while. Nerlens Noel's out as well. But, Emmanuel Quickley's back. RJ Barrett's back. Quentin Grimes is back. And all these guys have been out lately. Miles McBride, Obi Toppin. So I don't think there's a ton that stands out from the Knicks today, especially when you look at the pricing. Kemba Walker, I did have some interest in on Tuesday's slate. He didn't really have that great of a game. Really struggled against Minnesota. It was kind of his first bad game since he became a starter. Really in the starting point guard role, he's been amazing. But he did have a really bad game Tuesday against Minnesota. I want to say that Kemba probably bounces back here. I still think he's viable. I think with him busting on Tuesday, he's going to get no ownership at all. And I do still think that Kemba plays big minutes on a nightly basis. He played 33 minutes even in a game where he struggled. So if we get 35, 36 minutes from Kemba, the upside is definitely there. Now, I will say that Emmanuel Quickley, he did not play on Tuesday, but I have a good feeling that he will probably play today. He was out, or he actually did play. So excuse me for that. He actually did play. I thought I saw that Quickley would not be available, but Quickley actually did play 15 minutes. Don't know yet on a back-to-back how much Quickley plays. I would assume he might play a little bit more than he did last game, but there's really not a ton that stands out from the Knicks, to be honest with you. I think not RJ Barrett, but Kemba Walker would be the one guy I'd want to go to here. But even on this slate, I think Kemba's just more of a GPP play, low-owned option. Julius Randle has upside, but his price point, you're really paying for Julius Randle right now, and he just hasn't been justifying this price tag. So, yeah, I don't see too much I like on the Knicks. And then on Pistons side, there's kind of some stuff I like from the Pistons. So, Cade Cunningham, we'll have to keep an eye on, the COVID protocols for him. So, he was placed in COVID protocols about a week ago. So, there's a possibility that maybe he could clear and wind up playing here. When it comes to the COVID protocols, we just really have no idea. Players can go into COVID protocols and be in protocols for 2 or 3 weeks. We saw Naz Reid go into protocols, and he cleared protocols 2 days later. So you really never know when the guys that are in protocols that are out are going to wind up playing. Maybe Cade plays today, probably not though. We just don't really know. Obviously, there's a ton of guys in protocols right now for the Pistons. We don't really know if all these guys that are out, when they're going to return. It could be today. We have no idea. So it's really a wait and see for Detroit, but I will say that if everyone is out for Detroit that's, out right now, or everyone that, is out remains out, mean, Sadiq Bey is going to have a massive role. He's been playing a ton of minutes, over 40 minutes in back-to-back games. 46 DK points against Miami. He's taking a ton of shots. He's got a ton of usage, or he's getting a ton of usage right now. His price tag's really up there at 7,900, but I think with all the opportunities Sadiq Bey's getting, he would still be viable. Hamidou Diallo's been playing really well. He's also been playing a ton of minutes. His price tag, though, has come up and reflect that. It reflects that now. He's 6,200, so it's not like we're getting much of a discount on Hamidou Diallo, but I still think he'd be viable too, just because he's going to play a ton. Frank Jackson probably plays 30, 35 minutes, and at 5,300, he's someone we can maybe look to. And then Luke Garza, I do want to talk about. So with Trey Lyles out in COVID protocols, we saw Luke Garza actually start at center last game. Now, he only played 20 minutes, but he fouled out in 20 minutes, so I want to say that Garza would have played more had he not fouled out. I don't know exactly when he fouled out in that game. I probably should take a look at that. I probably should have pulled that up because I think that is pretty important. Because if Garza was like on pace to play like 35 minutes, then he's going to look really appealing today. Assuming Isaiah Stewart's out, assuming Trey Lyles is out, the guys that have been out lately. So I want to pull up Popcorn Machine, pull up the rotation. Let's go to where are they at? Detroit. So Luke Garza fouled out. So he fouled out in the fourth quarter with with 8 minutes left. So he was on, if he would have played the entire fourth quarter, which I don't know if he really would have, but if Garza would have played the fourth quarter, he would have played 28 minutes, and I'd assume he got, it looks like he had 2 fouls in the first 6 minutes in the first quarter, and then he subbed in, and then he picked up his third foul, I think, so he had to sub out. Garza was in foul trouble basically the entire game. I think he plays a lot if he's not in foul trouble again, just because they don't have Isaiah Stewart, they don't have Kelly Olynyk, they don't have Jeremy Grant, they don't have Trey Lyles. Assuming all those guys remain out, I think Garza plays 30 minutes and he's 3,500. Luka Garza's been a pretty good point per minute player this year when he's gotten minutes, so he would definitely be on my radar. Probably would be my favorite play from Detroit in general. They did sign Cheikh Diallo, former Suns legend. Cheikh Diallo used to love playing this guy in DFS. He was such a good point per minute player. He played 19 minutes last game. He probably will just back up Luka Garza. Obviously, if Luka Garza gets in foul trouble again, you could see more playing time for Cheikh Diallo. But Garza, I think if he winds up starting again and all these guys that are out are still out, he's going to look like a pretty solid value at 3,500. Because even in the 20 minutes he played last game, he put up 31 DK points. He was really productive. But that's it for the Pistons. We can move on to the next game, talk about Charlotte and Indiana. So in Charlotte, the only guys that are out for Charlotte right now are Miles Bridges and PJ Washington, at least the guys that are meaningful. So with Miles Bridges and PJ Washington out, we should expect heavy minutes for the main guys, LaMelo, Gordon Hayward, Kelly Oubre, Terry Rozier, Cody Martin. All those guys should probably play over 30 minutes, and I think they all did last game. LaMelo only played 25, but I want to say that most nights LaMelo's going to play 33, 35 minutes. I don't think he's a standout option today. I think LaMelo's going to be really low owned. I think for the most part, everyone on Charlotte's going to be low owned today. I do want to mention Mason Plumlee just because he's coming off a massive game where he put up 39 DK points in 29 minutes. I think without PJ Washington, they kind of have to play Mason Plumlee a lot, and especially in this matchup against Indiana, against Domantas Sabonis, and against Miles Turner, you're going to need some size out there. You don't really have a choice. You can't really go small against the Pacers. And in the 2 games they've played this year, Plumlee has played an average of 28 minutes through 2 games against Indiana. So I think we do get around 30 minutes from Mason Plumlee. 4,500, Mason Plumlee's a pretty good point per minute player. He's definitely on my radar as a value option. McDaniels played 27 minutes last game. He's kind of cheap. You could, I guess, go there. The mid-range guys like Oubre, Hayward, Rozier, Cody Martin, I don't know if any of these guys really stand out at their price points. They're viable just because you're going to get a ton of minutes. Obviously blowout last game kind of hurt all these guys. None of them played a ton of minutes because it was a blowout. But in close games, you're going to get 34, 35 minutes from Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier. Should get 34, 35 minutes from LaMelo. Viable tournament plays. Don't know if there's any core options, though, coming from this Charlotte team. And then on the Indiana side, we got to wait for news on Malcolm Brogdon. This is definitely big news. He's currently questionable. If Brogdon plays, I think there's still some guys you can maybe look to here. Brogdon himself at 8,100 kind of looks appealing in a really good matchup against Charlotte. Charlotte's been bad defensively this year. They play at a really fast pace. But if Brogdon gets ruled out, then I think that's a big bump for Karis LeVert. I will say, though, that on DraftKings, Karis LeVert is 9,100. So we're not getting much of a discount on him. Now, he has been great these last 2 games without Brogdon, 59 and 50 DraftKings points. He would still look kind of appealing, but obviously the price tag doesn't make him a standout play. Same could be said for Sabonis. I think this is a great matchup for Sabonis. He should be able to kill the Charlotte team, but at 10-7, My God, you're really paying for Sabonis today. Even Miles Turner's 7,400. So the pricing on Indiana makes these guys tough to roster. But I do think if Brogdon plays, he'd be viable. And if he does get ruled out, then LeVert, Sabonis would become better options. LeVert probably would be my favorite play from Indiana if Brogdon winds up sitting. But next game, though, we'll talk about the Clippers and the Celtics. So looking at the Clippers today, still no Paul George, still no Reggie Jackson, at least for the time being. I know Reggie Jackson's in protocols right now, so maybe he could come back soon. Like, we don't exactly know when he's going to play. He's been out for like a week now. Looks like here that the Doc Rivers said after Monday's loss that he expects Jackson to miss the next 3 games. Well, so there you go. He expects Jackson to be out. So, yeah, with no Paul George, with no Reggie Jackson, I mean, we should expect a pretty heavy workload for Eric Bledsoe, Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, Marcus Morris. Like, these guys should play a lot of minutes. Eric Bledsoe last game only played 28 minutes, but I think that game did blow out. I think, some of the Clippers guys didn't play as much in the fourth quarter as they normally would have. In a matchup against the Celtics, like, this is not a great spot for Eric Bledsoe, but we've seen the upside he has without Paul George and without Reggie Jackson. I still think he's playable. Same could be said for Terrence Mann and Luke Kennard, who should both play probably 30-plus minutes if this game's close. Marcus Morris had a really good game last game, put up 40 DraftKings points in 27 minutes. 5,400 without Reggie, without Paul George. Like, I think there's a lot of upside for Marcus Morris. That was the first game he had played with those guys out, and obviously he did really well. So I think we can kind of expect Marcus Morris to have another really good game here. He might be my favorite play from the Clippers if I had to go to anyone on this team. Nicholas Batum is still out, so I think that even solidifies Marcus Morris for big minutes. The rest of the Clippers I'm not really on. I think Marcus Morris, Eric Bledsoe are my 2 favorite plays coming from the Clippers. And then on the Celtics side, Jason Tatum, should be out again for COVID protocol, so we should expect a very heavy workload for Jaylen Brown. Now, I know Jaylen Brown didn't have the greatest game last game, 46 DK points in 39 minutes, but I think the upside is massive for Jaylen Brown. Without Tatum, he should just dominate the usage on this team, especially with Dennis Schroeder out too. I think at 10K, like, he's still viable. I do like Jaylen Brown, though, a lot more on Yahoo, so if you play over there, he's only $33. I think that's just way too cheap for Jaylen Brown. With Jason Tatum out, with the opportunity he's getting right now, now that he's back to playing his full minutes, got up to 39 minutes last game. I really like Jaylen Brown on Yahoo. You could play him on DraftKings. He's just not as appealing at that 10K price point. And then like Al Horford, Robert Williams, I don't really love at their prices. They're viable. I think they obviously have upside without Tatum. They should get more opportunity. Robert Williams specifically did not have a great game last game, did not play a ton of minutes, but we know Time Lord has big upside. They're more tournament plays, though. And then Marcus Smart is currently questionable, so this is kind of important. If Marcus Smart gets ruled out, we actually saw Peyton Pritchard start last game and play 45 minutes in regulation. Like, Peyton Pritchard almost played the entire game. I don't think he would play that much again, especially because they are getting Josh Richardson back for this game. So Josh Richardson should play, assuming his conditioning's up to par. So obviously, we don't expect as many minutes for Peyton Pritchard, but if Marcus Smart's out, with Dennis Schroeder out as well, like, Peyton Pritchard probably starts and plays at least 30 minutes. He's 5K. He would still be a viable option to go to if Smart is out. If Smart plays, then I probably wouldn't be on Pritchard at that point. But next game, we can talk about Atlanta and Chicago. Just saw these teams play back on Monday. They're playing once again here on Wednesday. Atlanta, kind of the same thing it's been these last few slates. They're just really shorthanded right now. The only issue with Atlanta, or the only, the tough part about Atlanta is that all these guys are in COVID protocols, and we don't really know when they're going to come back. It could be today. We have no idea. John Collins, I think he's been in COVID protocols for, just a few days, so I would assume he's still going to be out. But I know Kevin Huerter, they've talked about him maybe coming back soon. We really don't know. For now, I just have to assume that everyone is out, or that everyone that's out remains out. But obviously, things could change here. Trae Young at 11K. Price tag is really, really high. I think Trae Young is going to have a massive workload. We saw, right out of the gate, first game back from protocols, there was no limit on Trae Young. He played 40 minutes in regulation. Wasn't that productive, only had 43 DK points, but the opportunity is going to be there. The minutes are going to be there. He still has upside at this 11K price point, and there's probably going to be value that opens up today. It seems like every slate there's going to be value available. So Trae Young is still, a guy that I do have some interest in, even at his really high price tag. Clint Capella at 8,200, probably more of a tournament play. He was not great last game when these teams played, only 26 minutes, only 34 DK points. I still think Capella has a lot of upside, but at 8,200, obviously, he's not like a standout play. Cam Reddish is up to 6,200, so I don't love him anymore now that Trae Young's back. And then outside of that, this team is just, it's tough to know what to do here. We're gonna have to wait and see what a starting lineup looks like. Bogdan is out now. So Bogdan played last game and he played 41 minutes. So now that he's out, I guess Skylar Mays is going to be the guy that gets all the minutes. I mean, last game, Skylar Mays only played 17 minutes, but you got to think now Bogdan's out. So Skylar Mays probably plays like 30 plus minutes. But like, maybe DeLon Wright returns, maybe Kevin Huerter plays today. Like, we just don't really know. If all these guys that are out are still out, depending on what the starting lineup looks like, I think Skylar Mays could be a viable value play. I think Lance Stevenson could be a guy we look to for value as well. Now, he only played 4 minutes last game, but I would have to think if with Bogdan out now, given that Bogdan played 40 minutes last game, we probably see Lance Stevenson get more run. Starting lineup's going to be important for Atlanta. That's definitely going to dictate where we want to go with our value. I assume Trey, Capella, and Cam Reddish will start. Skylar Mays will probably start too. And then, the fifth guy, whether it's last game it was Shondae Brown that started, so maybe he starts again, 3,300. He could be viable. He played 33 minutes. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think Skylar Mays, especially with Bogdan out today, Skylar Mays kind of looks appealing at 3,700 as a value option. But that's probably it for Atlanta. Now on the Chicago side, Chicago's kind of missing some guys as well, but the price tags have come up to reflect this. Levine's up to 10-1, DeRozan's 9,600, Vooch is 9K. I don't think at their price points any of these guys are priority plays for me. Now, Vooch did have a massive game last time these teams played on Monday. Went for 65 DraftKings points, had 24 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 blocks. Just an unreal game from Vooch. I don't think we can expect that type of performance again from him. I think most nights Vooch is going to give you like 40, 45 DK points, and at 9K, like that's not really getting the job done. All three of these, main guys, Levine, DeRozan, Vooch, are tournament plays, but at their price points, none of them stand out as priority options. Kobe White started last game, played 25 minutes. If he starts again, he's fine, but I don't think he's a priority value of mine. There's not really too much I like from Chicago today. Everywhere, or at least everywhere on this team, the pricing looks pretty accurate. It looks like most of these guys are priced where they should be. So we can move on to the next game, talk about the Lakers and the Grizzlies. So the Lakers, kind of an important team to talk about. They are on a back-to-back today, so we definitely are going to have to pay attention to the injury report. I assume, everyone that played on Wednesday or on Tuesday will play again Wednesday. So like LeBron and Westbrook, we saw LeBron just have another massive game, 72 DraftKings points in 39 minutes against Houston on Tuesday. Assuming he plays today on a back-to-back, he should once again play massive minutes. Pretty good matchup against Memphis. Should be a fast-paced game. I like LeBron a lot. Once again, I think he's one of the better pay-up options today. He had a triple-double. Westbrook also had a triple-double. One of Russell Westbrook's better games this year. 60 DraftKings points from him, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists in 35 minutes. Westbrook's not been great this year playing alongside LeBron, and he's really been inconsistent, but it was at least good to see Westbrook have a really good game, at least for fantasy on Tuesday. Maybe he can repeat that for Wednesday. I still don't love Westbrook on the slate, but given how well he played Tuesday, if he can keep that, or if he can keep that rolling into Wednesday's slate, he could be a viable pay-up option, but I would definitely prefer LeBron just straight up. THT went to the bench on Tuesday, so it's really tough to go there. Carmelo did play a good amount off the bench, 28 minutes, 43 DK points. He was really productive. The Lakers actually did run an 8-man rotation on Tuesday, which is kind of important. Dwight Howard got a DNP. DeAndre Jordan got a DNP. Isaiah Thomas is no longer on the team. And then the only guys that played for the Lakers on Tuesday, the only guys that got minutes were LeBron, Westbrook, THT, Carmelo, Malik Monk, Avery Bradley, Stanley Johnson, and Darren Collison. Those were the only 8 guys to touch the floor. I'd assume they probably only play those 8 guys again. Malik Monk's the guy that I want to talk about the most because he's only 4K and he played a ton. He started once again. He's been playing really well in the starting lineup. He's cheap on both sides. He's only $11 on Yahoo. I like Malik Monk quite a bit today. Now, we're going to have to pay attention to the status of Wayne Ellington. Wayne Ellington did get ruled out with the illness on Tuesday. I think if Wayne Ellington's out again, you will see Malik Monk start and play a ton of minutes most likely. He played 35 minutes against Brooklyn on Christmas Day in his first game back from COVID protocols. Looked really good, 32 DK points. And then in Tuesday's game against Houston, played 40 minutes, had 38 DK points. He's been scoring really well. He's been playing a ton of minutes. The Lakers need scoring right now, and Malik Monk has been providing that. And at 4K, I think we can expect him to start again and probably play a ton of minutes. So he's one of the better value plays in my opinion. I like Malik Monk a lot. Stanley Johnson started, but I don't think I'd be going to him at 3,300. Just in this Lakers offense, playing alongside LeBron and Westbrook, the upside for Stanley Johnson just really isn't there. And Darren Collison, I don't want to play. So yeah, there's going to be some guys to look to from the Lakers just because if they do run an 8-man rotation again, I mean, you're going to see massive minutes for LeBron, massive minutes for Westbrook, Malik Monk. Carmelo should play a lot off the bench. Stanley Johnson probably plays 30 minutes. So there's viable plays here. Malik Monk, though, value-wise is my favorite, and LeBron as a pay-up option I do like a lot as well. Now, on the Memphis side, there's a lot to like from Memphis, too, just because the matchup here against the Lakers is so good. The Lakers this year leading the league in pace so far, and in terms of defensive rating, I know they've been improving defensively, but they're still not a great defensive team overall. I like Ja Morant a lot today, 8,800. As you can see, he's the thumbnail for this video. So Ja has played 4 games since he's come back from injury, and his minutes have slowly started to increase in each game. 28 in his first game against OKC, then he played 32 against Golden State, played 30 in a blowout against Sacramento, and then last game against Phoenix played 34. So I think, at this point, there's no minutes restriction for Ja. He's going to play 34, 35, 36 minutes if this is a close game. He went absolutely nuts against the Lakers earlier this year. In 37 minutes, had 65 DraftKings points. I think it was his best game of the season he put up against the Lakers. And it makes sense because defensively, this Lakers team, they don't really have any good guard defenders. Like Avery Bradley at this point in his career is not like a shutdown defender. I think Ja 8,800, if we can expect him to play 35, 36 minutes in a great matchup against the Lakers in a fast-paced game, he looks like one of the better, mid-range guard options. I guess you could consider him a stud. I like Ja a ton today. I think he's one of the better plays overall. And on Yahoo at $39, I think he looks great over there too. Love Ja from this Memphis team. I think Triple J, Desmond Bane, Steven Adams, these guys are tournament plays that you could definitely go to. Triple J, we know offers upside. It's just, can he stay out of foul trouble? If Triple J can stay out of foul trouble, he's someone that, in tournaments can provide somewhat of a ceiling. Without Dylan Brooks, I think there'll be more opportunity for Desmond Bane. We saw Desmond Bane have a really good game last game, took 22 shots. He's been taking a ton of shots lately, and he's a really good shooter as well. He's a really efficient shooter. In what should be a fast-paced game, there should be a lot of shot attempts available for Desmond Bane. I think at 6,200, he's probably my second favorite play from Memphis behind Ja Morant. And then Steven Adams at 5K. His minutes have been all over the place. Last game he played 31. The game before that he played 27. The game before that he played 23. You never know how many minutes Steven Adams is going to play. The Lakers have been willing to play small lately, so I could definitely see this being a game where Steven Adams maybe only plays 22 minutes. But he's been really productive when he's gotten minutes. He put up 45 DK points last game. He was 3 assists shy of a triple-double. He's a riskier option just because I don't think the minutes are guaranteed to be there in this matchup. But if you want to go to Steven Adams, if he does play 30 minutes, I think he's pretty likely to do well at his salary. That's probably it for Memphis. I don't think I'd be going to anyone else here. I know John Conchar has been starting lately, and now he's out for COVID protocol, so maybe Kyle Anderson winds up starting at 4,600. Kyle Anderson could definitely be on my radar for value if he does wind up starting. I'd have a little bit of interest in him, but that's probably it for Memphis. We can move on to the next game, talk about Miami and San Antonio. So Miami, they were a team that I had a lot of interest in on Tuesday's slate because they were really shorthanded, and I think, probably for Wednesday, they're going to be really shorthanded again. Obviously, this is a back-to-back for Miami. Bam, Kyle Lowry, Max Strus. Max Strus actually got put in COVID protocols literally 30 minutes before the game started. But yeah, Max Strus out, Dedmon out, Oladipo still out. PJ Tucker was questionable Tuesday, did not play. I'm guessing PJ Tucker will be out again. So if all these guys are out if all these guys that are out right now are out again for Wednesday, I'm thinking we're going to get an 8-man rotation for Miami. I'm pretty sure Miami ran an 8-man rotation on Tuesday. I think they only have 8 available players right now. Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Yurt7, Caleb Martin, Okpala, and Miles Garrett, Marcus Garrett. I said Miles Garrett. Marcus Garrett. Those are the only 8 guys that they have available right now. So I think Jimmy Butler at 9,300. I like Jimmy Butler a lot on Wednesday or Tuesday slate, and he did really, really well. 36 minutes, 65 DraftKings points, was 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double. Just without Bam, without Kyle Lowry, the workload for Jimmy Butler is going to be massive. The minutes are going to be there too. We know Jimmy plays a ton of minutes every night. Even on a back-to-back, I'd expect Jimmy to play a ton once again. The Spurs this year have been a pretty good matchup. They've been playing at a pretty fast pace. They're 4th in pace so far this season. So I really like Jimmy Butler once again. I think at 9,300, he's still a little bit too cheap. And on Yahoo, I do like him over there too at small forward, $44. I think he's one of the better small forward plays on Yahoo. Tyler Hero at 6,900, I think is viable. He played 35 minutes off the bench, had a really good game, 45 DraftKings points. He should also get a ton of opportunity without Bam and without Lowry. Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, I'm not as excited about those guys, but they're going to play a ton. 35 minutes for Gabe Vincent, over 30 minutes for Duncan Robinson, 35 minutes for him. Still in play. And then Yurt7 at 4,600, I don't know why his price tag didn't move Yurt 7, once again, if Dedmon and Bam are, I know Bam's out, but if Dedmon's out again, Yurt 7 is going to be one of the better value plays on the slate once again. He's $12 on Yahoo, super, super cheap. He started, played over 30 minutes, 32 minutes from him, 36 DraftKings points. Been a really good point per minute player this year when he's gotten minutes, and he showed that on Tuesday. He showed that, in Sunday's game against Orlando when he started then. Played really well, had 36 DK points. I think if we expect Yurt 7 to start again, we probably should project him for around 30 minutes, and given that he's been a point per minute player this year, he projects for probably 30 plus DraftKings points, and at 4,600, that's going to really stand out as a good value. So once again, I like Yurt 7 a lot for value, and I think that's probably it for Miami. Caleb Martin did start, played 29 minutes. He's only 3,900. If he starts again, could definitely go there. Again, I'm pretty sure Miami only had 8 available players on Tuesday, so we'll have to wait and see, if that's the case once again. If that is the case, there's going to be a lot to like from this Miami team. Now, on the San Antonio side, Dejounte Murray should still be out for San Antonio, so, Derek White, Keldon Johnson, I think these are guys that offer a little bit of upside if you want to go there. Matchup against Miami is not great, but, we saw Derek White have 43 DK points in 35 minutes last game against Utah. His ceiling is just way higher without Dejounte Murray. He's going to have the ball in his hands way more. He's going to take a lot of shots when he's on the court. Still like Derek White quite a bit. Still think Keldon Johnson's fine. The rest of San Antonio, though, I'm not too interested in. I think Lonnie Walker has a chance to play some more without Dejounte. His minutes have been all over the place this year. I don't think he'd be someone that I'd be playing today. There's probably going to be better value open up as the day goes on. There should be more minutes available for Lonnie Walker. He's viable at least, but Derek White for sure my favorite play from this San Antonio team. Next game, though, we'll talk about OKC and Phoenix. So OKC, they're going to be shorthanded. They have some guys in COVID protocols right now. Josh Giddey, Darius Bazley, Derek Favors, JRE. SGA at 9,200, tough to really go to. This is obviously a very scary spot for OKC. It's a back-to-back. They're going on the road to face Phoenix. There's obviously a lot of blowout risk here. I think, SGA, Lou Dort, these guys are probably just contrarian options today. I think if I was going to play anyone on OKC, it probably would be the value guys. I know Aaron Wiggins played a decent amount. He started once again, played 26 minutes, had 24 DK points. I think Aaron Wiggins is pretty safe just because if this game does blow out, I think he probably will still be out there in a blowout. So at 3,300, if you want to go to Aaron Wiggins, if he starts again, he probably would be my favorite play from OKC. Isaiah Roby did start at center. Keep an eye on their starting lineup. If Isaiah Roby starts at center again, he's minimum salary 3K. He played 22 minutes, had 20 DK points. He'd be a viable cheap play that you could go to. But in general, the Thunder are usually never in a team you want to get too excited about. They still ran an 11-man rotation on Tuesday, so I don't love a ton from OKC. It's really just these value guys you can kind of throw some shots on. And then on the OKC side, DeAndre Ayton should still be out. He got put in COVID protocols recently. I think without Ayton, that boosts the ceiling a little bit for Devin Booker and Chris Paul. I think Devin Booker had a good game last game. He had 46 DK points in 37 minutes. Booker's a fine option. Chris Paul's a fine option, but at their price points, they don't really stand out. JaVale McGee is definitely my favorite play from from Phoenix. He was pretty bad last game against Memphis. He played 22 minutes, started in place of Ayton. He had 6 fouls though, so he fouled out in those 22 minutes. I think we should expect, if Ayton or if McGee can stay out of foul trouble here, he probably will play more than 22 minutes, probably 26, 28 minutes. The matchup against OKC is really good. OKC's a pretty bad defensive team, and especially against big men. The price tag on McGee has come up a little bit, but I still think with Ayton out, JaVale McGee is someone that we can look to as a center option at 5,100. And yeah, that's probably it from Phoenix. I think McGee's my favorite play from the Suns today. On Utah, Donovan Mitchell still out today, so Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles, these guys all still look pretty appealing, and especially Joe Ingles. We talked about Joe Ingles a lot in my last video. He's still really cheap. He's only 4K on DraftKings. I like him a lot on DK. If you want to play him on Yahoo, he is very cheap over there as well. He's only $11 at shooting guard, so still like Joe Ingles a lot. I'm expecting him to start once again in place of Donovan Mitchell. He played 32 minutes in the starting lineup, had 25 DK points, was very solid for his price tag. This is a good matchup here against Portland. Portland defensively this year, not been good at all. Price tag on Joe Ingles is still really low at 4K. If we project Joe Ingles to start and play 30 32 minutes, he's probably going to project for similar DK points as to what he scored last game, 25, 26 DK points, which is really good at a 4K price tag. So with Donovan Mitchell out again, I like Joe Ingles a lot for value. I think Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson both make a lot of sense in the mid-range. I know Clarkson did really well last game, had 43 DK points in 32 minutes off the bench. Mike Conley wasn't as good, but I think the ceiling for Mike Conley is definitely higher without Mitchell off the floor, so he's still playable. And that's probably it from Utah. Like, I don't think Gobert's role really changes too much. I think, he's viable, but almost 10K. Don't love Gobert. So yeah, we can move on to the Portland side. So looking at Portland, no CJ McCollum, no Norman Powell, or not Norman Powell, no CJ McCollum, no Nurkic, no DSJ. Like, Damian Lillard, he's going to have a massive workload, massive usage here. The issue is that it's a really tough matchup against Utah. It's a game that has a lot of blowout risk. I think Portland definitely could get blown out here. But man, like, Damian Lillard is going to go out there and just take a ton of shots. He's going to play a ton of minutes if the game is close. I know he didn't have a great game last game, but I think most nights Dame is going to play like 38, 40 minutes and take like 25 shots just because without CJ, without Nurkic, like, he's going to be the entire offense. I still think Dame's a viable tournament play. Not a standout option on this slate, but definitely in play for me. Norman Powell at 7K, I don't really like his price point anymore. He's just priced up to a point where I don't think he stands out. Nurkic is out again, so Larry Nance should start at center. Obviously, this is a really scary matchup going up against Rudy Gobert. Like, I don't know how well Larry Nance really matches up with Gobert. He should be productive when he's on the floor. Like, Nance has been a pretty productive player throughout his career when he's gotten minutes, and especially when he plays center, he's pretty productive. At 5,400, though, like, I think he's priced probably where he should be on this slate. He's not a standout play. Nasir Little had an amazing game last game, put up 48 DraftKings points in 34 minutes. His price went up to 5K, but like, Nasir Little should play a ton without Covington, without Nurkic. Like, he's going to be on the floor for 35, 36 minutes. So I think Nasir Little is still viable. It's probably it from Portland, though. I think mostly Lillard, Nance, Little are the guys you can look to. But, all three of those guys are just kind of tournament plays for me, not like core options. And then last game of the night, Dallas and Sacramento. So on Dallas today, without Luka, without Luka and without Hardaway, I think Porzingis, Jalen Brunson are both still solid options. I think where they're priced at, they're not like standout priority plays for me, but in a pretty good matchup against a bad Sacramento defense and against a Sacramento team that has been playing really fast this year, there's a lot of upside for both Porzingis and Brunson. Porzingis last game was amazing against Portland, had 62 DraftKings points in 32 minutes. Like, Porzingis is a really, really good player. He's a really high upside player. He's just a guy that, he seems to not be as aggressive as you want him to be. He doesn't really demand the ball, but, man, when he gets in his groove, when he's demanding the ball, when he's taking a lot of shots, like, we're going to see him go out there and put up 55, 60 DraftKings points, and obviously he did that last game. Now, the price tag's come up a lot, but I still think Porzingis offers a big ceiling without Luka, especially in a good matchup against the Kings, and I think Brunson as well in a good matchup is someone you could look to. He should play a ton of minutes here if this game is close. He's viable as well. And that's probably it from Dallas. I think those are the only two guys I'd be considering on the Mavs today. And then on Sacramento, it's a back-to-back for Sacramento, so we're going to have to watch the injury report. I assume everyone that played on Tuesday will play again here for Wednesday. There's not a ton that stands out from Sacramento, like Halliburton, Fox, Barnes, Hield. Metu went to the bench Tuesday, so I have no interest in Metu. Like, none of these guys are priority plays for me. Rashawn Holmes is really cheap, but he just hasn't been getting the minutes lately, so he's a tough guy to consider. Do want to talk about Marvin Bagley, though. So Marvin Bagley actually did start on Tuesday, and he played 28 minutes, had 23 DK points. Bagley's still relatively cheap at 4,600, so if Marvin Bagley does wind up starting again, I think he will project out as a pretty good value play. Marvin Bagley's always been a relatively productive player when he does get minutes, so I do like Marvin Bagley for a value option if you want to go there, assuming he does start again. He would for sure be my favorite play from the Sacramento team if I had to play anyone on the Kings today. And that's it for Sacramento. That's it for Wednesday's 9-game slate. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you watching. Once again, if you enjoyed, click the like button down below. Click the subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you sign up over there, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. PrizePicks will give you a free bet up to $100 when you sign up with my code. Check out their platform. Make some picks for NBA tonight. If you want to do NFL, they offer that as well. Looks like they've already got some NBA stuff posted for Wednesday's game, so you can take a look at their board, see what they have available. Obviously, they'll get a lot more projections posted as we get closer to tip-off Wednesday and as we get closer to games starting. So, yeah, definitely check out PrizePicks, guys. So go sign up over there and use code NOAH. When you do so, you get that 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. But best of luck on Wednesday's 9-game slate. I appreciate you guys watching the video. We will see you in the next one.